Welcome to African Mysteries, where ancient whispers, dark secrets, and untold legends come to life. These stories are based on folklore, real experiences, and cultural beliefs. Viewer discretion is advised. Let the mystery begin. The snake that vomited money, the price of wealth in blood. In the town of Mavula, hidden between dust-laced hills and forgotten rivers, lived a man named Tulani Makais, once a schoolteacher, later a Sangoma, and now something much darker. He was the kind of man whose ambition had grown larger than his own sanity. Before his fall, Tulani taught history at Zulu High, a job he despised more with each passing day. He endured relentless headaches, sudden blackouts, and eerie fugue states in the middle of lessons. One unfortunate Tuesday, he stripped naked in front of a class full of teenagers while reciting a passage about Shaka Zulu. That was the final straw. It was no longer burnout, it was a calling. A loud, shrieking ancestral call he had ignored for too long. Tulani knew the signs. The voices. The invisible slaps in the middle of the night. People detesting him for no reason. He had a calling to become a Sangoma. But he didn't want it. The spirit world offered bones and incense, Tulani wanted yachts and champagne. After reluctantly accepting his ancestral fate, he trained under a powerful and mysterious Gobila named Mkuludladla, who wore velvet robes and lived in a house so large it had a jacuzzi in the guest toilet. Tulani couldn't hide his disappointment in the Sangoma lifestyle, ceremonies, goats, clients who paid in maize. No, he wanted what Mkulu had, wealth that didn't smell like cow dung and candle wax. And Mkulu saw right through him. "You want the water wealth," Mkulu said one night, swallowing a glass of blood-red wine. "But once you enter Mfana, there's no swimming back." Tulani didn't flinch. "When do I start?" The water initiation. It began with drums. Deep in the night, while Tulani lay sleeping, the sound of distant drumming vibrated through his house. Then came Mkulu's voice, clear, commanding, but without a body. "Wake up. It's time." In a trance-like state, Tulani left his bed and followed the rhythm into the darkness, barefoot and half-aware. The drums led him to River Gangandlovu, a wide, brooding body of water where moonlight barely kissed the surface. A group of naked initiates with red dogs stood there like statues, each holding a black cloth and bowing to the river. As he approached, they began to dance, not joyfully, but like puppets on invisible strings. He followed the sound into the river. Somehow, without drowning, he crossed into another realm, a liquid dreamscape beneath the surface. There, he was told he would stay for 7 days. Then came the first horror. He was asked to bake 3 people he loved. He named his mother Monondi and his 2 young sons, Saifo and Lwaze, thinking it was a metaphor. But when he saw their faces flicker before his eyes like candle flames in the water, he knew something terrible had been set in motion. A spiritual blood transfusion followed, his veins drained and refilled with something thick and hot. Then he was handed a large black pot and told to dig a cave-like hole for it at home. The instructions were clear: feed the pot black animals only, live ones, then never stop feeding it. He had no idea he was feeding a money snake. When the snake began to vomit, Tulani returned home to a hero's welcome. His neighbors thought he had completed a sacred journey. There were speeches, a traditional beer, and dancing, but Tulani could barely wait to get rid of the guests. He had a snake to feed. He dug the hole, placed the pot, and sacrificed a black hen. Then the money came. Crisp notes appeared in his wardrobes. Rolls of cash lay under his pillows. His bank account swelled for no logical reason. The snake, though rarely seen, was always heard. A wet slithering sound, a heavy breathing, then sometimes a voice saying, "More." He grew arrogant. Loved and feared. At funerals, he gave cash donations so big the bereaved forgot their grief. At church, the pastors avoided him. They claimed his shadow felt slippery. But the snake grew larger and greedier. The first payment. One night, Tulani dreamt of the snake uncoiling itself around his mother. It opened its mouth wide as a grave and swallowed her in one slow gulp. The next morning, Monondi was found dead in her bed. Peaceful. No wounds. Just gone. Tulani cried like a man who knew the killer but couldn't call the police. Because the killer lived in his yard. Guilt ate him from the inside, but the money kept flowing. Wads of cash under his car seat. Foreign currency in his fridge. He bought a luxury SUV and named it Momba. Then it asked for more. Another dream. Another night. This time, both Saifo and Lwazi were taken. The snake licked their faces before devouring them whole. Tulani woke up screaming. Within 2 weeks, both boys were dead, one from a sudden seizure, the other drowned in a backyard pool Tulani had just installed. Coincidence? Not in Mavula. The price of greed. Now, Tulani lives in terror. The snake demands 3 new souls every year. It has begun hissing names in his sleep: his brother, his cousin, his pregnant neighbor. He tried to reach Mkuludladla, but the Gobila had vanished, last seen driving toward a mountain that doesn't exist on any map. Tulani wanders from spiritual forums to local prophets, begging for help. Is it reversible? He asks anyone who listens. No one has answered. He can still hear the snake under his floorboards, breathing like a tired dragon. It no longer hides. Sometimes, it slithers into the hallway at night, its scales gleaming with blood, leaving behind a trail of shredded currency and black feathers. Tulani used to love money. Now, he wishes he could burn it all, if only to keep one more name off that serpent's menu. Moral: be careful when you ask for wealth from waters that don't reflect the sky. Some snakes vomit riches, others just eat your soul. For more mysteries from the motherland, hit that like button, subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a tale. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and beware, some legends are more than just stories.